Hello, everyone. Jim Shear here at the John Varvatos store on New York's Bowery, former site of CBGB's. And we continue VH1's 100 Greatest Artists with a woman who recorded her first album in her father's church at the age of 14. 30 years later, she became the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Aretha Franklin is the queen.
The original diva.
Aretha Franklin, I think, is definitely the best singer of all time.
The first time I heard an Aretha Franklin record was probably with my mother. And I remember her trying to sing R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
As a child, I had the opportunity to be in her presence, to actually be there, to hear her sing. Amazing.
Aretha was the period. She had a little southern swank to her. Definitely wasn't Motown. There was no mistaking when you heard Aretha.
If you think about today, the way records are made, and you've got auto-tune and all these million different things, Aretha didn't do that because the voice is total perfection.
Sounds just as good now as she did then. To me, to this day, she belts it out hardcore.
Incredible lady, incredible voice. Aretha's absolutely one of the greatest voices of our time.
You had better think about it. I wanna live, I wanna give. I've been
I would have to say Neil Young is my favorite artist of all time.
It's these expressions
I love Neil Young because there's a rawness about what he does.
that keep me searching for a heart of gold.
He's probably one of the best songwriters ever in rock and roll. His lyrics never suck.
He started off in Buffalo Springfield, and he joined Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and then he created some of the best albums of the 70s.
As an artist, you have to be conscious of what's commercial, what's not commercial. Neil Young didn't give a like, he just wrote for himself.
I don't work for anybody but the muse, and that's what I want to be as a musician.
Once you hear his voice, it's undisputable who he is. He's got a great voice, very original.
He's also one of the great guitar players who has a completely definitive style. Like you hear somebody playing and you're like, oh, you're doing the Neil thing.
Neil Young is one of my favorite dudes ever. His political records, his love records, his country records, his folk records. He's a rock and roll, country folk, rock, hip-hopping beast.
He never stops. He's making new now, and he doesn't give a
My home in Norfolk, Virginia, California, on my mind.
Chuck Berry is the father of rock and roll. Okay, Chuck Berry is where everybody got it from.
I can't even imagine how many people first heard Chuck Berry rocking his guitar and said, okay, that's what I want to do.
You really can't play rock and roll without playing some idea that Chuck Berry thought of first.
He is one of my all-time heroes. That guitar lick, the guitar lick.
He is the first rock and roll lead guitarist.
He's the first guitar hero. His stage show was incredible. That duck walk that he used to do across the stage.
The movements, the aura, the vibe, the swagger. Chuck Berry is the example that all the rock and rollers stole from.
Chuck Berry's the greatest lyricist is ever written in rock and roll.
As I got on the city bus and found a vacancy.
His songs were great stories, guys and girls, cause, teenage angst, but done in a way where everyone could appreciate it.
Chuck Berry, he's in his 80s now. He still puts on an amazing show, and he's the guy who invented rock and roll. He's still doing it.
Just sounded very cool, and I love Lou Reed's voice a lot.
Up to Lexington, 125. Feel sick and dirty, more dead than alive.
They were the polar opposite of what everybody thinks of as the 60s and what was popular at the time, like the Summer of Love.
They were very inspired by New York culture, so they were equally infatuated with drag queens and junkies as they were with poetry and literature.
It's like 1966, 1967, and Andy Warhol goes to see them and thinks, this is remarkable. And he makes a record with them.
Warhol brought Nico to the mix. Her voice is unlike any other female singer in the universe.
'Cause everybody knows.
And Lou Reed's a great songwriter.
Standing on the corner.
There's something about those songs and the sound and what they're saying and all these things. There's just something perfect.
And me, I'm in a rock and roll band.
If there hadn't been the Velvet Underground, rock music would have gone in a slightly different direction.
I think the Velvet Underground should be #1 on the list.
We are getting very close to the top 20 of all time. Here are some of the giant stars you'll be seeing soon.
AC/DC embodies everything that is rock and roll.
Watch even more exclusive 100 Greatest video on your phone and online at thegreatest.vh1.com.